Eyo Value Investors, how are you doing? My name is Stijn and welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is dedicated to the first stock we talked about on this channel, Nouveau Monde Graphite, or these ticker symbols. Ever since my first video, the stock has been an absolute roller coaster. I hope you guys are still holding onto your shares, because what the CEO recently said changed the story of this company completely. And in this video, I'll try to explain what this means for the company and hopefully convince you to be just as bullish as I am on this company. And to explain my excitement, I'll first give you guys a recap of what this company is, does, and what it wants to do in the future. After this, we'll talk about some of the recent price movements with this company and we'll try to decide if this is good or bad in the long run. Thirdly, I'd like to talk about some of the news around this company and maybe more specifically the interview Eric Dessonnier, the CEO, did on Crux Investor, and some of the bombs he dropped in this interview. And lastly, I'll try to explain what these bombshells do for the longer term vision of this company, and more specifically what they do for the longer term price projections I have. Stick around for this part because it's going to be juicy. So first, what does this company do? Well, it's in the name, Nouveau Monde Graphite. So this company mainly focuses on graphite, and graphite happens to be a material that's hot currently. Just look at the future demand projected by Bloomberg. And this high projected demand is mainly coming from the projected increase in EV sales. And EVs are all basically really large lithium-ion batteries on wheels. And to supply the graphite needed for the EV revolution, Nouveau Monde Graphite is creating two main projects that are vertically integrated with each other. And the first is their Meta-Weenie mine, which is set up to become the largest flake graphite producer in the Western world. And besides this, they plan to become the first fully electric, carbon-neutral open pit mine in the world, which is a massive competitive advantage in and on itself. And they also have one of the lowest operating costs per ton on graphite on Earth. And this is just an insane value proposition for an investor. And besides the mine, Nouveau Monde Graphite is busy constructing the purification plant in partnership with Olin. And here they plan to take the flake graphite and transform it into battery anode material. See, graphite has many uses, but the main one Nouveau Monde Graphite is focusing on is the use of graphite as a battery anode material. A modern lithium-ion battery has two main parts. A cathode, which is mainly made from lithium and some other materials, and an anode part, which is mainly made from graphite. And this is exactly where Nouveau Monde Graphite comes in. They can process their own graphite mined from the Meta-Weenie project, purify it at the purification plant, and after this the material is ready to be used in lithium-ion batteries. But since the whole company is basically vertically integrated, this means they can buy graphite mined by other mines and purify it themselves. Therefore, they have the potential to increase their revenue streams a lot. To me, this business plan is just genius, and their timing as a graphite producer could not be better. So now that we know that Nouveau Monde Graphite actually does, should we be worried about the recent price movement to the downside? I feel sorry for the guys that bought in at all-time highs, since you guys will be booking losses on the short term. But I believe in the long run you guys will be totally fine. And this I believe because of two things. First, the fundamental analysis we do on this channel. This is always the backbone of our investments, and this is what leads us to sound decision making. But secondly, if we look at the recent price movements of this company ever since mid last year, we can see that it moves up and down in heavy swings. Normally, Nouveau Monde Graphite propels itself upwards after the good news piece came out, and then consolidates. During the consolidation, you give back some of the profits you just received. But then another news piece comes out and we skyrocket to the moon. But then a consolidation needs to happen and we give back some of the attendees we just printed. And most recently, some good news was released around the purification plant and permits. So Nouveau Monde Graphite skyrocketed to Mars. But once again, a consolidation needs to happen. And currently we're giving back some of the attendees we just received. This is totally normal behavior for a smaller company, especially one that's so dependent on the progress that's being made with legislation, the purification plant and the mine. And funnily enough, during all the drama around interest rates of 10-year bonds, we're currently consolidating nicely for the next big spurt upwards. When it will happen, I cannot tell you, but the more midterm indicators I use, so the MACD, stochastics and the moving average, all point towards nice consolidation with a possible breakout soon-ish. Keep in mind, it could take weeks still. Therefore, I myself am enjoying this sale greatly, and I'm advising all my friends and family to step in now if they want to step in at all, since I believe the next spurt upwards will be huge. And why I believe so, we'll talk about during the buy targets part of this video. And now into the news. As I shed some light on in my last video, Nouveau Monde Graphite received the permits they needed from the Quebec government, and these permits enable Nouveau Monde Graphite fully start their mining process up, and enables them to have their mine up and running in 2023. Check out my last video on Nouveau Monde Graphite if you want to know more about this specifically. Recently, the CEO Eyo Value came on the Crux Investor podcast to talk about Nouveau Monde Graphite. Here the interviewer asked a couple of great questions, specifically on the longer term vision of Eyo Value. And here's what Eric said.
Just in the west zone of the whole block, you see it's a big anomaly, but just in the west zone, we do have double the resource compared to the reserve that we have. So we could do an expansion to 200,000 ton a year. And we do have a lot of claims in the area because if you remember, maybe not, because it was probably 2015, 2014, we had quite a lot of few other deposits in the area of Saint-Michel des Saints. There's no short-term plan to develop those deposits, but obviously this is not a short-term company, so maybe 2025 and onward we will develop one of those deposits.
That's quite a bit to unpack. So long-term, 2025 long-term, Nouveau Monde Graphite's plan to up their production from 100,000 tons to 200,000 tons of graphite. This changes everything. Literally all my price projections changed dramatically. And we'll talk more about this during the buy target segment of this video. But besides this, my trust in Eyo Value increased 10-fold. I love how he has such a long-term vision for this company, and he's planning to add so much value for us shareholders. Here's what I mean.
No, I need to have a plan. I need to have a PEA without disrupting my team who are building the project, and they need to be focused at delivering this 100,000 ton a year. We need to start developing a plan for 200,000 ton a year with a much bigger capacity in Bécancour. It's doable. The resource is all there at all level. There's no bottleneck other than commitment from customer. But I think it's now obvious that the customer are building those electric cars and they will require a lot of it, and they don't even know it how much yet,
I just love his insights in this case, letting his awesome team focus on the first plan, the first 100,000 tons, but still focusing on the grander scale himself, the longer term vision. Their customers need tons and tons and tons of graphite. They know it, he knows it, and they really can't get enough of it. I think the question isn't really how much graphite Nouveau Monde can sell, rather how much they can produce, because I think they will sell everything. And as Eyo Value said, they're not materially limited. I cannot wait for what the future will bring for this company. And this made this stock an even better value proposition than it was already at 100,000 tons. And here's why. Now, as promised, my own price predictions and buy targets for this company. In my original video, we did calculations with the free cash flow ranges predicted by Nouveau Monde Graphite, which were based on 100,000 tons a year. And now, because of the longer term vision Eyo Value gave us, and this vision includes an output of 200,000 tons of graphite a year, so we can now double these numbers. So for 2026 to 2027, we can safely predict that Nouveau Monde Graphite is able to reach free cash flow ranges from $262 million on the low end to $384 million on the middle end to $504 million US on the high end. If we now slap on conservative PE ratios ranging from 10 to 30, that results in a potential market cap of $2.6 billion on the low end, all the way up to $15 billion on the high end. If we compare that to the current prices Nouveau Monde Graphite is trading at, around $600 million US, that's about a 337% return on the low end and a 2,400% return on the high end. Absolutely bonkers and a great risk-reward scenario. I therefore predict that Nouveau Monde Graphite could reach up to $36 per share on the higher end, while having a lower end prediction of around $5 US per share. Knowing this, I'm planning to average up to around the $2 US point. after which I'm not getting as large of a margin of safety as I'm getting when buying the company now. At this point I decided, since I'm already so balls deep on this company. Currently around 35% of my portfolio is in Nouveau Monde Graphite. But please do your own research. My decisions are based on my own circumstances, and yours are entirely different. And also keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give it a like and maybe even subscribe. Comment down below what you want to talk about next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.